So yun nga po, magandang araw po sa inyo Sir Marvin Bartolome at tayo po ngayon ay magkakaroon ng video presentation about sa technopreneurship. So bago po ang lahat, pakilala ko lang po ang aming grupo. Kami po ang The Money Minds. So andito po yung mga grupo ko, ang aming hacker is si Hedrick Gerson de la Roya. Sa ano naman po, ang kasama niya po is si Big Up Mark Sidril. Para naman po sa hipster, ako po si Jiro Bilardo, kasama ko naman po si Richard Biding. Para naman po sa hustler, nandiyan naman po si Jasper Santa Cruz at si Carl Vincent Simbilio po. So po dito sa technopreneurship, may tatlong terms po tayong i-define. Ito po yung technology, invention, tsaka innovation po. So magsimula po muna tayo sa technology. So technology may define in many ways, but for simplicity's sake, in relation to this subject, it is use of scientific knowledge to give an easier solution to problems within the society or specific individual. So sa sinasabi po dito sa slide na to, yung technology daw po ay ginagamitan ng scientific knowledge or para mabuo. Tapos yung technology din daw po is nakakatulong sa atin, specific individual at saka daw po sa society. Ano nga po ba yung mga halimbawa ng technology? Andyan po yung laptop, cellphones, computer. Yan po yung mga common examples ng technology. So next naman po is invention. Dito naman po sa invention, in purest sense, is the creation of product, processes, or techniques which do not exist before. So sinasabi po dito, pag yung invention daw po is para mag-i-invento tayo ng bagong product na bago sa mata ng tao or bago sa panlasa po ng tao. Next naman po is innovation. Is the process of modifying invention to improve it or make it better. In short, invention and innovation are related but not identical. So sinasabi daw po dito, yung innovation po rather, ay ito daw po yung pagpapaganda or pagmamodify doon sa existing po na product natin. Halimbawa po, dagdagan natin siya ng design, mag-a-add po ng bagong features para mas takilikin po ng ating mga customer. So sinasabi po dito, yung invention daw po at innovation ay related pero hindi daw po sila identical. So halimbawa po ganito, una pong na-invento yung cellphone, di-keypad mo po muna siya or dipindot. So in-applyan po siya ng innovation. So nadagdagan po yung features niya at saka nag-ipa po yung design. From keypad po, naging touchscreen po siya. So sinasabi din po dito, it's very usual that if there's new technology, it requires also new business that would benefit from it. The process of launching and running a new business is called entrepreneurship. When that business use technology to deliver services to the consumer, that is technopreneurship. So sinasabi kapag may bago daw pong technology ang lumabas, may bagong business din daw po ang lilitaw. Parang connected din po sila kasi kapag may bagong technology ang lumabas, parang may bagong business daw po makikinabang doon. So kapag ang tao daw po nagtatakda or nagpapatakbo ng isang negosyo, yun po yung tinatawag nating entrepreneurship. Pero kapag yung business daw po natin ay gumagamit ng technology para makapag-deliver ng services sa tao, yun naman po yung tinatawag nating technopreneurship. So dito po sa technopreneurship, may dalawang bagay po tayong dapat malaman. Ito po yung pain points at saka po solution. So dito po sa pain points, ito po yung particular na problema or hadlang na nararanasan ng isang customer or consumer sa product. Kapag sa solution naman po, ito naman po yung magre-resolve do sa problema po. Halimbawa po, dito po sa may picture. Kung makikita nyo po yung tao na sugatan, ang iisipin po agad na pain points ng customer or consumer is yung kailangan niya po ng bandage. Pero hindi po yun yung ganon. Ang tunay pong pain point dito is paano mapapatigil yung pagdurugo or masasara po yung sugat para tumigil po yung pagdurugo. Ngayon po, ang talagang solution po dito is yung bandage po. Yun po yung pagkakaiba po nilang dalawa. So, in sketch of the previous slide, a marketer will hear someone saying that they needs a bandage. So that the marketer will present a bandage, a great bandage, a bandage that stays on well but doesn't hurt when it's peeled off, a bandage that keep out infection, a bandage with all up from frozen or giving the wound a nice warm hug. Ito po yung pinakita ko pong picture sa previous slides po. Yung pinakita po kung ano pa yung pain points at saka solution. So, as a marketer, ang karaniwan pong maririnig na pain point ng isang customer is kailangan niya po ng Vantage. Yung Vantage na maganda po, at dumidikit po, at hindi daw po masakit kapag pag tinanggal na po. But the Vantage was just a solution, not the pain point. The actual pain point is that person who wants to stop their leg from bleeding. So ito po yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung parang misconception po sa pain point. So ang talagang solution po doon is yung Vantage, pero hindi po siya yung pain point. Ang talagang pain point po na sinasabi doon is kung paano daw po talaga mapapatigil yung pagdurugo ng sugat po ng ating customer. So sinasabi pa po dito, understanding that as the pain point, the marketing of the solution is very different. So talaga pong as entrepreneurship, talagang dapat po nating maintindihan kung ano po talaga yung pain point ng ating mga customer para mas nakakaisip po tayo ng mas magandang solution. The solution could still be a bandage, but it would be one that tightly pulls together the wound to stop bleeding it. It would be a bandage that sticks to skin even the skin is wet with sweat. So sinasabi, yung bandage po talaga yung pinaka-solution sa problema po nung customer po doon sa nasugatan. Yung features daw po dapat ng bandage na yun is talagang mapagdidikit daw po yung sugat para tumigil po yung pagdurugo. Kahit mabasa daw po ito ng pawis, ay hindi daw po agad-agad to matatanggal. The new solution could be also a medical glue that will stop the bleeding immediately. The key is that the solution should address the customer true pain point. The marketing shouldn't be about the product. It should be about the alleviation of the pain point. So sinasabi pa daw po dito, may isa pa pong alternative solution. Ito daw po yung medical glue. So kapag in-apply daw po natin yung medical glue, mas mabilis daw po yung epekto nito para mapatigil daw po yung pagdurugo kumpara po dun sa bandage. So sinasabi pa daw po dito, yung solution solution po dapat is talagang na-address po talaga or nare-resolvehan po talaga kung ano po talaga yung tunay na pain point ng ating mga customer. So sinasabi pa po dito, yung marketing hindi lang daw po basta tumutukoy sa product. So kung paano daw po yung product na yun, paano nasusolusyonan yung talagang problema po ng ating mga customer. So innovation comes from understanding true pain points. So sinasabi po dito, kapag naiintindihan daw po talaga natin yung pain points ng ating mga customer, is mas maa-applyan po natin to ng innovation. The myth of Henry Ford saying, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, still holds a very important lesson in it. It's not a quote about ignoring customers' feedback. It's about getting to the root pain point customers have. In this quote, the pain point has nothing to do with horses or cars. So, sinasabi po ni Henry Ford, kapag tinanong niya daw po yung mga customer kung ano po yung kailangan nila, ang isasagot daw po is yung mabibilis na kabayo or sasakyan. Pero yun po yung pain point na karaniwan. Pero kung titignan po natin, hindi po talaga yun yung pain point or wala pong kinalaman yung mga kabayo or mga sasakyan. The pain point is that people want to get from one place to another quickly and efficiently. But people see only solution to that being faster horses. So ang talagang pain point po talaga ng ating mga customer is kung paano daw po sila makakapag-travel from one place to another ng mas mabilis and efficient. Pero ang nakikitang solution lang daw po ng ating mga customer is yung mabibilis daw po na kabayo. So if you understand the underlying pain points your customers have, your approach to innovation completely changes. The way you speak to your audience changes. You don't hype solution but rather call out how the solution alleviates the pain point. So sinasabi po dito, kapag naiintindihan mo daw po talaga yung problema ng ating mga customers is yung approach po natin sa innovation is talagang magbabago po. Parang mas nakakaisip pa po tayo ng mas magandang paraan. So yung pakikitungo po or paano ka po makipag-usap sa yung mga audience ay talagang magbabago din po. Hindi mo lang po basta-basta hinahype po yung solution. Bagkus po is yung solution po na isip natin is na napapagaan niya po talaga kung ano po yung pain point ng ating mga customers. So, paano nga po ito makakamtan? So, you connect with them, you build trust with them because you understand them. So, parang bababa ka po sa perspective kung ano po talaga yung pain points na nararamdaman nila para malaman po natin kung ano po ba talaga yung solution. You build trust with them. So, kailangan daw po natin mahook daw po yung tiwala nila para sa atin po sila magpo-purchase. Kasi po, because you understand them. So, yung sinabi, yung parang connected lang din po yun dun sa una-una. Dahil kung connectang ka nga po sa kanila, is talagang maiintindihan mo po sila paano po mareresolbahan yung mga problema po nila.
Now let's move on to identifying pain points. Customers experience pain in many ways, but oftentimes they don't know how to tell you what that pain truly is. So, imbis na sabihin kung ano yung mali sa product or service, solutions agad yung hinahanap ng customer. Pero paano nga ba natin malalaman yung mga pain points ng customers natin? We can start by asking them open-ended question. For example, imbis na tanungin sila ng kung did you like our product, pwede silang tanungin ng what did you like or dislike about the product para mas ma-elaborate nila kung ano ba talaga ang hindi nila nagustuhan at mas madali natin ma-identify yung pain points nila. Let's take this example from Theodore Levitt. If someone walks into a hardware store looking for a 1/4 inch drill bit, their pain point isn't that they need a 1/4 inch bit. Their pain point is that they need a 1/4 inch hole. Don't ask them what kind of features they want. Ask them what they want the drill bit for. This explains na you should not only focus on the product, but you should also focus on the outcome na gusto ng customer. Kasi di naman yung 1/4 inch drill bit yung pain point nila, kung hindi yung hole na kailangan nilang magawa. By knowing this, you can provide a alternative solution that solves their pain point. Let's now move on to Unit 2, which we will tackle customer segments. So let's start with customer and end user. So ano nga ba ang pinagkaiba nilang dalawa? Una is yung customer. They are the ones who purchase the products or services ng isang company. Pero hindi lahat ng customer ay end user kasi pwede nila ibigay yung binili nila sa ibang tao. While the end user is the person who uses the products or services na binili ng customer. This means that yung end user ang makakaalam ng quality ng product or yung service dahil sila ang nag-consume nito. So ayun, moving on to the next slide, makikita natin is yung examples ng customer tsaka end user. Tulad na lang netong sa una, sa toys. Parents ang bumibili, then babies ang gagamit. Likewise na lang sa may oxygen tank na binibili ng hospital, then pinapagamit sa mga patients. O kaya, etong cat food. Di ba yung cat owner naman talaga bumibili ng cat food, tas pusa yung kakain? Alam mo naman, baliktad, di ba? And ayan pa, ibang examples, tulad na lang sa computers and yellow pad. Okay now, what is a stakeholder? Stakeholder is a party that has an interest in a company and can either affect or be affected by the business. In simple terms, sila ang mga individual or group ng people na maaring makagain or lose depending sa magiging outcome or future ng business. As a business owner, kailangan makipag-work sila with their stakeholders para maka-maintain sila ng healthy relationship that will eventually benefit everyone. Ang stakeholders are divided into two, which are the internal and external stakeholders. Then, ito na yung two types of stakeholders, which are the internal and external stakeholders. So, ano nga ba yung pinagkaiba nilang dalawa? First is yung internal stakeholders. Sila yung directly involved or part ng organization or simply mga nagtatrabaho for the company. Meron silang direct stake sa operations and performance ng company. For example, employees, managers, and owners. While yung external stakeholders naman is hindi sila part ng organization pero affected pa rin sila sa activities ng isang organization. Meron silang indirect stake sa performance ng company. Example nito is yung customers, suppliers, and investors. Key difference nila is yung internal, they can influence with decisions, while the external can influence with feedbacks. Moving on naman sa customer segments. So, what is customer segments? These are different group of people or organization your enterprise aims to reach and serve. Dito, dinedivide ng business ang mga customers para maka-offer sila ng mga products or services na relevant at useful to each group. Pero bakit nga ba ito importante? Unang-una, it helps a business give the right message to the right people and they can adjust the products para mag-fit ito sa specific needs ng each group. And there are types of customer segments which are the mass market, niche, segmented, diversified, and multi-sided.
Ayan. So dito na po tayo ngayon sa mass market. Products and services which target the mass market segment have a broad appeal and often cover the overall population. The mass market approach doesn't rely on any specific segmentation and instead aims to be efficient by treating everyone the same. In reality, there are very few companies that do this. Most companies apply some level of segmentation. So, ano nga ba ang mass market? Ang mass market ay isang customer segment kung saan ang produkto o serbisyo ay para sa lahat. Meaning, hindi siya nakapokus sa specific na grupo ng tao. Ang target nito ay malawak na audience na may common needs and wants. For example, yung toothpaste. Di ba halos lahat naman ng tao gumagamit ng toothpaste? Regardless sa age, gender, or income level. Kaya ang kumpanya ng toothpaste like Colgate nagmamarket dito sa mass market kasi pangkalahatan ang kanilang produkto. Hindi mo na kailangan mag-segment ng market ng masyado kasi ang goal mo ay abutin ang pinakamalaking bilang ng customer. Proceed naman tayo sa niche market. A niche market refers to a specific customer segment with highly defined characteristics. This segment requires a highly tailored product custom-made to suit their needs. Therefore, the value propositions, channel and customer relationships are tightly defined by the preferences of this particular customer segment. Ang niche market ay, kung ang mass market ay para sa lahat, ang niche market naman ay isang specialized na market segment kung saan nakapokus ka lang sa isang particular na grupo ng customers. Hindi mo target ang lahat kundi a specific audience na may unique needs or preferences. Ang parang ibig sabihin na to ay hindi mo kailangan ng maraming customers. Ang kailangan mo ay tamang customers. Example ay yung nagbebenta ng luxury brand like Rolex, Chanel, or high-end products where their target is the high income earner or wealthy. Segmented. Hindi ko nababasahin yung nasa PPT kasi masyado mahaba. Pero ito lang na may ibig sabihin ng segmented. In segmented, hinahati-hati or dinidivide mo ang market or the target audience based sa needs, preferences, at behavior ng mga tao. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng tao ay pare-pares ng kailangan o gusto, di ba? Kaya kailangan mo mag-conduct ng market research para malaman mo kung ano talaga yung needs o problems ng target market mo. Ang example dito ay kung gusto mo magbenta ng cosmetics, syempre mas focus ka sa females. Usually yung age na range na 18 to 25 years old. Kasi sila yung madalas na mahilig at bumili ng mga beauty products. While sa men, for example, t-shirt. Ang product mo, kailangan yung color and sizing is appropriate sa kanila. Like hindi mo naman sila pwedeng bebentahan ng pink because not all men wear pink. So you need to adjust your product to fit sa needs and wants ni customer. Diversified. A business that decides to take a diversified approach to customer segmentation will select a wide range of customer groups with very different needs. Often, companies diversify as they migrate to new customers and markets. Dito sa diversified, yung company ay nag-offer ng iba't ibang products or services para sa iba't ibang markets. Kumbaga, hindi lang sila nagpo-focus sa isang industry. Good example dito is yung Jollibee. They offer a product na namimit ang preferences ng mga Filipino and service like delivery kung saan hindi na need ni customer pumunta sa kanilang physical store. Pwede din yung brand na LG like TV, aircon, and the service they provide is free installation and repair. Dito na tayo ngayon sa last type of customer segments, which is multi-sided platforms or multi-sided markets. Some organizations needs to attract 2 or more independent customer segments belonging into 2 or more totally different sides in order to succeed. Ang example dito ay yung credit card company. Needs a large base of credit card holders and a large base of merchants who accept those credit cards. Similarly, an enterprise offering a free newspaper needs a large reader base to attract advertisers. On the other hand, it also needs advertisers to finance production and distribution. Both segments required to make the business model work. Yung multi-sided platforms or multi-sided markets, sobrang simple lang na to. Ang ibig sabihin na to, kung may mga business na kailangan mag-serve ng dalawa o higit pang customer segments where their both presence is needed. For example, yung restaurant. Sa isang restaurant, para mag-run ang business na ito, is need nila si customer. Wala silang sa server ng food kung walang order. So in simple words, the seller, which is the company, and the buyer is inspirable. Dahil tapos na tayo sa customer segments, dito naman tayo ngayon sa market segmentation. So what is market segmentation? Market segmentation is the process of dividing target customer segments into smaller, more precise cluster. It is used to categorize customer segments and audiences into groups that share similar characteristics. Types of market segments: demographic segmentation, psychographic segmentation, behavioral segmentation, geographic segmentation. So, ang market segmentation is the process kung saan hinahati-hati natin ang market into subgroups based sa kanilang needs, wants, preferences, at behavior. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng tao pare-parehas ng gusto, gaya nga sinabi ko kanina. So, para mas effective ang marketing strategy ng isang business, kailangan natin i-segment or i-divide ang market. For example, yung milk tea shop. Since hindi lahat ng customers same ang prepared price, for example, may mga student na afford lang is budget friendly but still quality. Meron din mga professionals na premium or mahal ang gusto kasi ang mindset ng iba, kapag mahal masarap. So by segmenting them, mas madali mong malalaman kung anong offer or promo ang bagay sa bawat group. Here is the first type of market segmentation, which is demographic segmentation. This is one of the most popular and commonly used types of market segmentation. It refers to statistical data about a group of people. Ang market segmentation is actually the most common type of segmentation na ginagamit ng businesses. Dito, based siya sa demographic profile or statistical data ng target customers. Kasama dito yung age. Halimbawa, teens, ages 13 to 19, mahilig sila sa trendy clothes. Habang yung mga adults naman, age 30 to 40, mas practical buyers. Sa gender, kung product mo ay cosmetics, mas sa females ka magpo-focus. Pero kung mga Hot Wheels, usually sa males. Sa income naman, low income earners usually go for affordable brands, habang high income earners mas prefer premium products. Occupation, trabaho. Halimbawa, students mas gusto ng budget-friendly options. Ang mga professionals mas open sa convenience at quality. Ethnicity or culture. Iba-iba rin ang needs based sa culture. Example, dito sa Pilipinas, mas rice eaters tayo, pero sa Paris or Europe, mas bread eaters sila. In short, demographic segmentation helps a business na i-match ang product or services based sa actual profile ng customers. Kasi hindi naman lahat pare-parehas ng background at lifestyle.
So, my name is Richard Biding. My report is under the market segment. One market segment is already reported by Mr. Santa Cruz. So, dito naman tayo sa psychographic segmentation. Psychographic segmentation divides a market into group based on their psychological traits, such as personality, values, attitudes, interests, lifestyle, motivation, and priorities to understand, predict consumer behavior more deeply. So, personality refers to traits that describe how person usually thinks, feels, and behaves. Values that the principle and beliefs that guide the person thinks is right, important, or worthwhile. Attitudes that opinions or feelings people have about specific ideas, products, or brands. Interests that hobbies, passion, and activities people enjoy. Lifestyle, the way a person lives, including habits, routines, and social activities. Motivations that inner drives that push people act or make decisions. And last, the priorities that a factor people consider most important choosing a product. So, psychographic benefits you improve targeting, deeper customer understanding, increasing marketing effectiveness, greater consumer loyalty and lifetime value, and better brand messaging. This market strategy helps companies create personalized marketing campaigns by understanding customers, motivation, and tailoring product and message to resonate with their psychological profiles, ultimately fostering stronger brand loyalty. So, dito naman tayo sa behavioral segmentation. Behavioral segmentation is a marketing strategy that divides customer into group based on their actions, behaviors, and interactions with products or services. Unlike demographic and psychographic segmentation that focuses on who customers are, behavioral segmentation highlights how customer acts and make purchasing decisions. So, ito ay nakapokus on how customers act and make decisions, grouping them by their buying habits, spending patterns, and interaction with brands. Yung benefits naman nito is it helps business personalize marketing, increase sales, improve customer loyalty, and better understand real customer needs. So next is the geographic segmentation. Geographic segmentation is a process of dividing consumers into groups based on their geographical location. Since people need to often vary depending on where they live, businesses use this method to effectively reach target customers in specific areas. In short, geographic segmentations group customers based on location, such as country, region, city, community, street, radius, climate, and whether they live in urban or rural areas. So, businesses can adapt their products and services to local needs. It benefits geographic segmentation is that it helps businesses deliver the right products and services to the right place, making marketing more effective and customer more satisfied. So, dito naman tayo sa tanong na, what is an influencer? So, basahin ko muna. An influencer is someone who has the power to affect the purchasing decision of others because of their authority, knowledge, position, and relationship with other audiences. So, yung understanding ko lang dito, sila yung mga content creator, hindi content creator, nagpo-promote ng mga products, items, na uh, uh, kadalasan ko nakikita sa TikTok. Dun yung mga kanang advertisement na isang product na gagamitin nila sa sarili nila. Syempre nga naman titingnan ko effective, and then nakaka-attract ng ibang customers. Yun. Sa nakikita ko rito na yun yung nagiging marketing strategy nila para kumita at makabenta. Makabenta, syempre kikita. So, yan tayo sa isa na, is it important for the customer to be informed first of the benefits they would get upon buying a products or services from an enterprise, or no need for that since every buyer obviously know the purpose of what they are buying? So, dito, they need to be informed pa din, because first of all, it is your item, it is your role as a seller, and they need guide on how fit your item as well, and also to encourage others na itest yung products na binebenta mo. And I know naman na kapag maganda yung approach mo sa isang mamimili, patuloy na susuporta at tatangkilikin ang produkto mo. Dito tayo sa sinabi niya Henry Ford na a man who stop advertising to save money is like a man who stop the clock to save time. Dito, it means that stopping advertising to save money is a mistake, because advertising is essential for business growth. Just like stopping a clock cannot stop time, cutting advertising will not save money but instead slow down success.
Good day everyone, my name is Marcin Prediga from BSE E3B, and I will explain to you some quotations from famous people. The first one is, doing business without advertising is like winking at a girl in the dark. You know what you are doing but nobody else does, by Stuart Henderson Britt. If you run a business but don't advertise, it's like winking at someone in the dark. You might think you are sending a signal, but nobody else can see it. In other words, advertising is how you let people know that your business exists. Kapag wala yon, ikaw lang yung nakakaalam kung ano yung ino-offer ng business mo, at hindi yan mapapansin o malalaman ng mga target customers mo. In simple words, kahit napakaganda pa niyang business mo, if people don't know about it, you won't get customers. For example, you opened a bakery and you bake the most delicious cakes in your town, in your city, or in your province. If you don't advertise it, only people who happen to pass by your shop might notice it. Pero hindi ito malalaman ng ibang mga tao, o hindi ito makakarating sa mga tao sa iba't ibang lugar yung business mo. Baka yung nakakaalam lang ng business mo yung pamilya mo o yung mga kaibigan mo lang. Pero if you advertise it, naglagay ka ng mga posters, posted it on Facebook, or nagbigay ka ng mga free samples or free taste, more people will hear about your bakery. More people will visit your bakery and buy your cakes. So the point is, a good product is not enough. You need to let people know it's there. So the next one is, business has only two functions, marketing and innovation, by Milan Kundera. Milan Kundera says that for a business to survive and grow, it only needs to focus on two main things. The first one is the marketing. Marketing, letting people know about the product or service and convincing them to choose it or to buy it. And then the next one, the number two, is the innovation. Creating new ideas, products, and services that people will want. Without marketing, nobody will know or buy from the business. And also, without innovation, the business will not improve and will fall behind competitors. In short, a business must tell people about what it offers, that is marketing, and keep improving what it offers, that is innovation. Okay, uh, let's get an example. For example, the Apple. When it comes to innovation, Apple keeps making new products or improving the old ones, like iPhones, AirPods, or MacBooks. Nagdadagdag sila ng mga new features, mga better designs, and updated technology na talagang magugustuhan ng mga tao. And when it comes to marketing, Apple makes people want their products through ads, product launchers, and creating a brand image that feels modern and premium. Because Apple both creates new things, innovation, and tells the world about them, that is marketing, and it stays successful. Kung titignan natin, if Apple only made new products, halimbawa, nag-focus lang sila doon sa innovation, pero hindi sila nag-promote, hindi sila nag-advertise, hindi malalaman ng mga tao yung tungkol doon sa new products and new features na kanilang ginawa. And on the other side, and if Apple only advertise, puro promote, hindi nag-focus dun sa improvement, hindi magkakaroon ng interest yung mga tao doon. That's why marketing and innovation are the two main jobs of a business. The next one. The internet is becoming the town square for the global village of tomorrow by Bill Gates. Bill Gates is saying that the internet is like the town square in an old village, that place where everyone gathers to share news, talk, trade, and connect with each other. But instead of being limited to one village, the internet connects the whole world. In other words, the internet will be the main meeting place for people everywhere in the future. Let's connect it to the business. Yung mga business ngayon, ginagamit nila yung internet as their town square to each customers para marating nila yung iba't ibang customers sa iba't ibang lugar, para ma-promote yung mga product nila at para makapag-communicate globally. Just like a town square was central to community life, the internet is central to modern business and social life. So let's get an example. In the past, if a shop wanted to sell something, it would open a store in the town square so people walking by could see it. Para lang makita ng mga tao, magtatayo sila ng business doon sa tinatawag na town square. Pero ngayon, sa panahon natin ngayon, a business can open an online shop like Lazada, Shopee, Amazon, Temu, and many more. Customers from all over the world can see their products, not just people in their town. The next one. Make it simple, make it memorable, make it inviting to look at, make it fun to read by Leo Burnett. Leo Burnett is saying that for a message to work, especially in business and advertising, it should be simple, memorable, inviting to look at, and the last one is fun to read. First one, simple. Customers don't like complicated words. If they don't get your message easily, they will ignore it. Hindi nila papansinin yung business mo, kaya make it simple. The next one, memorable. If people remember the brand of your product, they will think of you when they need that product. And then another one is inviting to look at. Dapat mayroong good design. Dapat may magandang logo. Dapat may best packaging that will catch the attention of your target customers and make people curious about your product. And then the last one is fun to read. If your ad or message feels enjoyable, people will actually want to read it instead of skipping it. For example, in business, this means your ads, posters, social media posts, or even product packaging should be followed these formulas. para yung customer mapansin o yung makita nila yung business mo. Matatandaan ka nila and they want to buy from you. Let's take an example. For example, yung Coca-Cola. Sa simple, the word Coke is short and easy. And then for memorable, their red and white logo and the taste the feeling slogan stick in your head. Napakadaling tandaan. Tapos yung logo, napakasimple lang. And then inviting to look at. Meron bright colors, happy faces, and yung cool na bottle design. And then the last one, the fun to read, their ads often tell short, cheerful stories about sharing happiness. And then, because of this, Coca-Cola is not just a drink. It's a brand that people remember and feel good about. So yung idea ni Leo Burnett is really a formula for a successful business. If your message is simple, easy to remember, nice to look at, and enjoyable, your business will grab the attention and stay in people's mind. And then the last one, risk comes from not knowing what you're doing by Warren Buffett. In business, Warren Buffett's quote means this: when you start or run a business without really knowing the market, hindi mo alam kung sino yung magiging customers mo, or hindi mo alam kung paano iikot o gugulong yung pera mo, you're taking a big risk. You make bad decisions, pwedeng masayang yung pera mo, pwedeng bumagsak o malugi yung negosyo mo. Pero if you study your business well, inaral mo mabuti yung magiging product mo, inalam mo kung sino yung magiging customers mo, at alam mo rin kung sino yung magiging kalaban mo sa negosyo mo, the risk becomes smaller because you're making a smart and informed choices. For example, nagbukas ka ng isang restaurant without knowing what people in the area like to eat. It is very risky. Nagbukas ka ng restaurant sa pagitan ng mga fast food, hindi ba? May chance na malugi o bumagsak yung negosyo mo. Pero kung nag-research ka about your customer preferences, yung costs and location, the chance of success of your business is much higher.
Unit 3, the value proposition. The value proposition. A value proposition is a simple statement that summarizes why a customer would choose your product or service. It communicates the clearest benefit that customers receive by giving you their business. A value proposition can be presented as a business or marketing statement that a company uses to summarize why a consumer should buy a product or uses a services. Your business value proposition is arguably the most important element of your overall marketing messaging. A value proposition tells prospects why they should do business with you rather than your competitors, and make the benefits of your products or services crystal clear from the outset. Meaning na yung value proposition po natin or ng company natin, it will serves us to attract or to convince why the consumer or the customers will buy our products or our services instead of our competitors. And value proposition means that it will serve as the message to the consumer what are the benefits of our products is better than the products of the competitors. Historical background. The phrase value proposition or BP is credited to Michael Lanning and Edward Michaels, who first used the term in a 1988 staff paper for the consulting firm McKinsey & Co. In the paper, which was titled A Business is a Value Delivery System, the authors defined value proposition as a clear, simple statement of the benefits, both tangible and intangible, that the company will provide, along with the approximate price it will charge each customer segment for those benefits. Meaning the term value proposition was credited to Michael Lanning and Edward Michaels in their consulting firm paper at McKinsey and Co. They said that value proposition is presented by the company that shows a clear and simple statement that showing tangible or nakikita or nahawakan and intangible or hindi nakikita na mga benepisyo. Tangible and intangible benefits. Tangible benefits are those that can be measured in financial terms, meaning tangible benefits is measured in financial term because the company can track the exact amount of money they earned compared to their last sales, while in the consumers or customers POB is how many or how much money they will save when they buy your product or your services. While the intangible benefits cannot be quantified directly in economic terms, these benefits includes customer feedbacks. In the other hand, intangible benefits are the customer's satisfaction or kumbaga kung gaano sila na-satisfy or nasiyahan sa pagbili nila ng product mo, kung gaano nila hahanap-hanapin na babalik-balikan yung product mo dahil sa pagkakasatisfy nila sa pagkakagamit nito or pagkakabili nila nito sa company mo. Intangible and tangible benefits. Project benefits. Intangible benefits. Number 1, increased revenue. Then, resource cost savings and hardware cost savings, software cost savings, productivity gain, and plus is process improvements. While in intangible benefits is or are enhanced user experience, increase customer satisfaction, and increase compliance, and lastly is brand equity. As we can see in this example, we clearly know that tangible benefits are the benefits that the customer or consumer would have or see after they purchase the product or a service. And while the intangible benefits are the benefits that the consumer or customer would experience after buying or using the services we sell. Lastly is definition in layman's term. In basic meaning, value proposition pertains to the benefits that customers would get upon buying a product as promised by the company who owns it. It actually is a statement which serves as a window for consumers to see clearly what a certain brands could offer and its advantages over other competitors. Meaning that value proposition will serve as a let's say a sneak peek or a trailer in a movie that what we will see on the actual show. And katulad din po ng sa pagbili natin ng product sa company nito na pinapakita ng value proposition nila kung ano po yung magiging advantages ng product na binebenta nila over sa same product na binebenta ng ibang company. And ito daw po yung statement na nagsaserves as a window or kumbaga kung ano po yung makukuha nating benefits sa product ng company na ito over sa same product ng ibang company. At yun lang po ang meaning ng value proposition, and thank you very much.